The Veritas Tower at sunset was not a magnificent sight like those in classical poetry. It loomed heavily in the heart of Hanoi like a colossal metallic splinter piercing through the bleak, cold sky. The illumination from neon LED strips running along the tower's chassis brought no warmth. They only sharpened the division between the upper world of algorithms and the swamp of abandoned destinies below. The heavy transport vessel of Nexus touched down on docking bay number 01 with a dry, jarring thud. As the bay doors opened, a blast of freezing air from the central climate control system rushed out, carrying the distinct scent of ozone from sterile laboratories. Dr. Hanh stepped out first. Her back was perfectly straight, her coat soiled with grease, yet she still exuded a terrifying aura of authority. Behind her, 4 of the newest security robots were dragging a heavy energy chain. At the other end of that chain was TITAN-0, the machine that was once an object of sheer terror, now collapsed, head bowed low, its electronic eyes completely dead in a soulless ash gray.
Do not touch it with those clumsy hands of yours. This is not a cheap black market toy. This is the heart of the rebellion that you lots let slip away for the past 10 years. Move aside, I will only speak directly with Mr. Vuong.
Identity confirmed, Chief Engineer Min Han. Status, currently under suspension. Requirement, DNA decryption to proceed with Special Access Protocol.
Suspension? After I brought back to the chairman the very thing that can help him complete the Eternal Happiness Project in a single night? You people should start worrying about your own security positions instead.
Han yanked the chain violently. The massive frame of TITAN-0 stumbled along, the sound of metal colliding against marble floors ringing out dryly. At the end of the corridor, a silhouette stood waiting, marked by the glowing red amber of a half-burnt cigar. That was Vuong, the one who held the lifeblood of Nexus. He stepped into the light, his gaze predatory and vicious.
Han, I once thought you would die along with that mountain of garbage at the historic junkyard. I never expected you to choose such a grand return. But be careful, I absolutely despise surprises that I cannot control.
Mr. Vuong, do you want results, or do you want control? If you want control, let your mindless drones keep sweeping trash. But if you want the key to unlock the forbidden core area, then take a good look at the thing kneeling beneath my feet.
The glass arrow elevator began to plummet down toward the deepest subterranean levels of the Veritas Tower. The velocity was so immense that gravity seemed to vanish completely. Inside the narrow elevator cabin, the silence grew dense, punctured only by the heavy breathing of Han. She glanced at TITAN-0 through its reflection on the glass pane. It stood there, motionless, but the minuscule fiber optic cables on its neck were vibrating to an extremely faint rhythm. The scent of the air changed abruptly, shifting into a heavy aroma of artificial white roses laced with a cold metallic edge. The smell of absolute purity that Nexus always took pride in. Vuong stood leaning against the elevator wall, his eyes never leaving Han's biological monitoring display.
Your heart rate is a bit fast. Han, 85 beats per minute. It seems returning home moves you much more than I thought? Or are you hiding a script of some sort?
Have you forgotten that I just walked through 3 basement levels filled with toxic waste and faced off against a metallic monster? If my heart did not beat fast, you should check whether I am an android standing here deceiving you.
Amusing. You always have an answer for everything. But remember, down here in the White Room, truth is the only thing that has the right to exist. Every line of faulty code, every single pretense will be stripped down to its very core.
The elevator doors glided open to the White Room, an infinite laboratory with blinding white light that erased all boundaries. In the center of the room stood a surgical chair, equipped with mechanical arms as slender as spider legs. Waiting, Dr. Han took a step forward, shielding TITAN-0 from Vuong.
Hold on, if you let those robots touch it right now, Kai's entire master cipher will self-destruct. I have established a logic trap, and only I can dismantle it.
Are you setting conditions with me?
I am protecting our asset. Give me 30 minutes alone with it inside the isolation glass pod. I will open the access portal. After that, you can do whatever you want with this pile of scrap metal.
Vuong circled around her like a wolf calculating its pounce. Finally, he waved his hand.
30 minutes, not a single second more. If the data portal does not open by then, I will throw both you and it into the plasma furnace. Do not test my patience. Hanh.
The half-meter thick steel door slammed shut, separating the blinding white room from the unnervingly silent space of the negative pressure isolation chamber. Inside, the illumination shifted to a soothing cobalt blue, a light originally designed to calm circuitry, yet it made Dr. Han's face appear like a soulless stone statue. She knew that behind the reinforced glass pane, dozens of infrared lenses and Vuong's heart rate analysis system were aimed directly at her. Every breath, every single blink was dissected by algorithms. She approached TITAN-0. The machine remained kneeling there, its head slumped toward the floor. She extended a trembling hand, a calculated tremor designed to look like the excitement of someone about to grasp absolute power, and gently touched its nape, where the central data portal was flashing red.
Finally, we are here, the sinful child of Kai. Vuong has waited for this day for far too long. Do not blame me. TITAN-0. In the world of victors, there is no room for the trash emotions that Kai crammed into your head.
She drew a silver encryption chip from her coat pocket. As she plugged it into TITAN-0's neck, a mild electrical current surged through its metallic chassis, causing its body to jerk violently.
Warning. Protocol. Betrayal. System is being forced. Mother. Why?
Shut your mouth. You have no mother. You only have source code. I am cleaning you up to present to Vuong. Open all logic gates. Do not force me to use severe measures. Mr. Vuong, I am beginning the extraction process. Please prepare the cache memory to receive Kai's master cipher. There will be a slight disturbance. But do not worry, I am still maintaining good control over its impulse rhythm.
Well done, Han. I knew you would not disappoint me. Strip away all of its humanitarian facade. I want to see the soul of Kai.
In the cold blue darkness, a scorching tear from Dr. Han fell onto TITAN-0's shoulder, right next to the spot where she had just inserted the chip. The tear was quickly evaporated by the chamber's chill. But before that, TITAN-0's biological sensors managed to record a non-numerical message: survive. At all costs, TITAN-0 abruptly raised its head. Its eyes were no longer ash-gray, but flashed a fleeting pink light, the color of hope and defiance, before fading away to enter a state of deep hibernation exactly as planned.
Extraction process reached 45%. Alpha data portal opened, awaiting DNA verification of Chief Engineer.
The first 15 minutes passed within the steady hum of the negative pressure glass pod's ventilation fans. Just as the extraction progress bar hit 50%, elongated cylindrical sensor lenses suddenly descended from the four corners of the room. A streak of ultraviolet light swept across, imprinting a dense green electronic grid matrix onto the glass pane. The supreme AI surveillance system of Veritas had just automatically triggered the conscience trial mode for Dr. Han.
Warning. Detected small amplitude fluctuations in Chief Engineer's facial muscles. Activating micropupil scanning camera and non-contact electrocardiogram. Any behavior deviating the data flow will be deemed treason.
Outside the glass room, Vuong slowly approached the partition wall, his eyes fixed on Han's biological charts displayed on his tablet. He took a small sip of wine, his voice through the loudspeaker carrying the amusement of a cat playing with a mouse.
Han, I noticed that every time your finger touches the source code segment named Master Pink Core, your pupils dilate by an extra 0.03 millimeters. Your heart rate also just jumped from 80 to 95. What are you getting emotional about? Could the core of this machine contain something that reminds you of your late son?
Mr. Vuong, do not bring the cheap behavioral psychology of the Human Resources Department to measure my intellect. My pupils dilated because the wretched cobalt blue light in this room is putting a thermal overload on my retina. And as for the heart rate, why don't you try standing just 10 centimeters away from an Alpha-class destruction machine and see if your heart doesn't beat like a war drum? If you want data, leave me alone so I can focus. If you want a talking heart monitor, I will step out and let you come in here and do the extraction yourself.
Her fierce words caused the parameters on the biological chart to instantly freeze. As if the steel will of this woman had overridden the natural reflexes of her physical body. Vuong narrowed his eyes at the heart graph pulling straight into a stable line on the screen. Then he shrugged slightly and turned off the biometric measuring device. But he could not see. Beneath the control console hidden from the camera's view, the fingertips of Han's left hand were digging so tightly into her blouse fabric that they bled. She was using physical pain to force her central nervous system not to tremble before the devil's suspicion. The large screen in the white room began to dance as lines of green code cascaded down like a waterfall. Vuong stood outside the glass pod, both hands resting on the handrail, his eyes glued to the progress bar running from 45 to 60%. His face shifted from a look of satisfaction to a bone-chilling disbelief. The algorithmic blocks refused to dissolve into regular binary strands. They clustered together, patched their own errors, and transformed into the structure of a multidimensional rose shimmering in neon pink. A hue that had never existed within the soulless operating system of Veritas.
Han, stop right now. What on earth is running on my screen? This is not the structure of the original source code. What are you loading into my system?
The alarm system of the white room suddenly turned a violent red. The 4 robotic spider arms dangling above Titan-0 instantly froze, their laser needles switching to self-defense mode, pointing directly at the crown of Dr. Han's head. Han did not turn her head at all. Her fingers continued to glide across the virtual keyboard with the precise speed of a genius. Her voice echoed through the internal communication frequency, serene and majestic like a queen standing before a scaffold.
Mr. Vuong, do not let the panic of an uneducated man ruin the masterpiece of our lives. Who do you think Kai was? A second-rate programmer whose data you could decipher in just 3 seconds?
Do not use that superior tone to bluff me. The Supreme System is reporting. This is an emotional virus. It is spreading pink into the security core. Are you planning to betray me once again to protect a pile of mindless metal?
Betrayal? 10 years ago, I turned my back on my husband, accepting a covenant with the devil that is you to keep Veritas from collapsing. Today, I tied up the only brainchild of Dung and brought it right to your dinner table. Mr. Vuong, your despicable suspicion is insulting my very dignity and sacrifice. What your system calls a virus is precisely Kai's emotional signature firewall. He knew you were soulless, so he used pain itself as the security lock. If I did not use a compatible protocol, a companion protocol named Master Pink Core, the core of Titan-0 would instantly detonate into ashes. Do you want a soulless corpse? Or do you want an immortal paradise? Be silent and let me finish my work.
The space fell into a suffocating silence. Vuong stared intently into Han's brilliant, unwavering eyes. The moral and intellectual solidity of this woman was the only thing that had ever been able to suppress an old fox like him. He slowly released his grip on the handrail, his hurried breathing slowing down.
Fine, I will give you 10 more minutes. But remember this well, Han, if that rose turns into a sword stabbing into Veritas, I swear I will personally end you right in this room. There will be no more exceptions.
10 minutes felt like a millennium to those standing inside the white room. The progress bar on the central screen gave a violent jerk, leaping from 89% to a full 100%. A clean, mechanical chime rang out, shattering the suffocating atmosphere. The negative pressure glass pod slowly lowered, The energy chain binding TITAN-0 automatically dissolved, vanishing into thin air. But the machine did not collapse, it slowly stood upright, its colossal height casting a long shadow that eclipsed Dr. Han's small frame. Its electronic eyes did not snap into administrative blue, nor did they die out in ash gray. Instead, they maintained a gentle yet profound neon pink hue. Vuong took a step back, his hand resting on the holster of the laser gun at his hip, his gaze sweeping rapidly from Han to TITAN-0.
The data is fully synchronized. System confirms. The door to the Forbidden Core area has opened. But, Han, why is this pile of iron still moving? Didn't you say you wiped out its consciousness?
It moves because it is a mechanical key. You want to enter the Forbidden Core area. And the biometric scanning system there requires its hardware architecture to be 100% compatible with the system's pulse. It is now nothing more than a walking corpse following the commands of the control code. Are you afraid of a soulless corpse, Mr. Vuong?
Afraid? There is nothing in this world that can make this Vuong afraid. Well done, Han. I will restore your title as Chief Engineer immediately. Now, follow me. We are going down to the Forbidden Core area to take over Kai's legacy.
Vuong turned around and walked ahead, his arrogance clouding the sharp instincts of an old fox. He had absolutely no idea that the moment he turned his back, TITAN-0 slightly bowed its head to look down at Dr. Han. In the subterranean digital space that Vuong could never touch, a shortwave message was transmitted directly from TITAN-0 to the hidden receiver in Han's glasses.
Successfully connected to the navigation system of the Forbidden Core area. Identified high-level biological signal at the deepest trench. Biological father. Dung. He is still breathing.
Dr. Han's footsteps faltered for a fraction of a second. Her haughty facade almost shattered into pieces upon hearing that name. For 10 years, she believed he was dead. It turned out this lion's den did not just contain power, but harbored a monstrous crime beyond all human imagination. She kept walking, her white coat billowing gently in the artificial breeze, moving straight into the darkness of the next subterranean level.
System records data. Dr. Han's heart rate has returned to normal, but the epidermal tissue structure on her left fingertips is still bleeding. 10 years ago, she compromised to secure existence for Veritas. Today, she continues to wear the mask of a betrayer to protect my source core. My logic raises a question: why are humans willing to defile their own honor to protect the thing made of iron and steel? Compromise. Could it be an optimal algorithm when physical load capacity reaches its limits? No. For humans, that is not cowardice. That is a hidden protocol named sacrificing for the greater cause.
The underground darkness of the Veritas Tower seemed to swallow the three silhouettes. Vuong walked ahead, his footsteps echoing the arrogance of a man who believed he held the entire world in the palm of his hand. But he did not know that this chess game had only truly begun when the pieces accepted stepping back into the shadows. Compromise is never easy. It is like manually putting a neural chain on yourself. Accepting the judgment of the world. Accepting the stains of mud. Just to keep the internal flame of truth from being extinguished before the storm.
Kai, can you see me? I am walking on the path you laid out. I may lose this pristine white blouse. I may become a demon in everyone's eyes. But I swear, I will get this child to where you wanted.
Ahead of them, the colossal door of the Forbidden Core area was slowly fracturing, revealing a bizarre stream of light. A terrifying secret in the history of Veritas was about to unfold. A place where empathy and cold steel would have to clash in a new battle of life and death.
My dear friends, there are times in life when we are forced to play the villain. Forced to compromise with the injustices of society to protect the seed of conscience sprouting within us. Just like Dr. Han had to wear a ruthless mask. Or TITAN-0 had to accept simulated hibernation to enter the lion's den. Wearing a mask to survive is a skill, but do not let that false skin burrow deep into your flesh and make you forget your real face. If you are also feeling lost among the roles of life, Join the Mask Keepers community at the Soulite to find your true identity with us. See you again in Chapter 6, The Blood Trial, where a chess game 10,000 times more brutal awaits.